Then text. Can get its color of red, and I don't need to be trying to make everything so convoluted. I can do this a lot easier. Without having to do any of that. Yes. First name. Easier. I can just simplify the whole thing by doing it like this. Let's give another class and check for that. Query selector. Okay, so little skip ahead. I went ahead and achieved the part of it that was going to involve JavaScript off camera. Unintentionally, though. This is just a case of I didn't realize I wasn't recording and just kept on going, so I'm an idiot. But I will walk you through what I did and how I did it. So, of all these classes, I added for the error messages, I added additional classes to each of them to identify what they were an error for in my script. And then I added a hide class to the CSS with the opacity set to 0 and defaulted that opacity to be set to 100 for the error text. Then if we move over to the JavaScript, what I did is I have a bunch of variables variables here that are selecting elements in the HTML by their mostly IDs and classes, though one was just a straight up selector. So we're grabbing the form and all of the inputs, as well as all of the individual error messages by their secondary class, which is why I put that there to begin with. As well as the submit button input, which I'm actually getting using the type selector. And then I'm adding in something called event listeners, which, as the name would suggest, it basically tells the JavaScript to listen for a certain event, and if it happens, you do something. So we have a form event listener set to trigger when the form is submitted. The E right there is a sort of variable, because this is technically a function. So what this is saying is that when this is triggered, use the prevent default method, because prevent default has to be applied to something to be used. And what this is doing is telling the form, hey, I don't want you to actually use the default submit method. When submit triggers, don't actually do the default. I will set up what I want you to do somewhere else, is essentially what is being said there. And then the stuff I actually do in terms of the messages and errors and such is taking place within the event listener for the submit button, which triggers when the button is clicked. The way it's set up, and I actually want to try something to see if this works or not. It doesn't, so we have to stick with the standard method that I had going before. Or, wait, no, I didn't actually try that, so. Let's give this a go. And it doesn't. Yeah. So, what this is doing is it's set up to check the value of the first name variable, which is my input. It will look at the text that's entered into the input at the time the submit button is clicked, and that is the value of that input. And then we have an if statement here to run a comparison with the value of the input. And if that input is not a blank string, then the error message designated as the first name error, for if there's something wrong with that input, will have the class of hide applied to it. don't need to set an else statement for this because of how simple it is, but that also means that if the value of first name is an empty string, then it will not apply hide, so you will see the first name required error message. And then I also do the same thing, albeit a little bit differently, all the way down here. In fact, there's one thing I need to test to make sure it's working properly. Yeah, that's not working properly because it will let me input non-numbers into the phone field. But I'm actually not going to fix that at this moment in time. However, if this is a project I was going to be going on for any length with, I would be fixing that. That's what the undefined part is supposed to be doing, checking that that's actually a number. I should probably just be checking if it's an integer. It would be the easiest way to do that, but again, that can wait. And I'm doing something slightly different, again, for the passwords. Because in addition to checking that there is a password, I also have to check that the password and confirm password fields match. Is the other thing I've got to do. But I think that's everything I'll need to do with JavaScript for this. Now, however, I need to change it to the 375 width and see if there's anything I need to do. The answer is no. I don't actually need to do anything on that. So I'm just going to very quickly do some resizing to make sure that we've got things working at the correct sizes for various screens. Shouldn't take too long. In fact, I can copy this and just tweak the numbers a little. Should be good and simple. So, yeah. That works for me, but I think on that size we already have an account text at the bottom to move over to the left a little. So, login text, that's the one.